resistance.
What's up, everyone? This is the TinMan with the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you are watching this, you are the resistance. And welcome to TinMan TV. Yes, everybody, this is TinMan TV. I, of course, am your host, Chris Sheldon, the Tin Man, the White Rabbit, and the cold, heartless son of a bitch, taking you down the goddamn rabbit hole once again. And this, of course, is the infamous Monster Blue, the fictitious product that doesn't actually exist, because we are of the people, by the people, for the people, unlike our United States government. Wow! Okay. So, being that we are of the people, by the people, for the people, if you like this transmission, be sure to share the live feed and retransmissions and follow us on all of our social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at Real TWBRN. Fuck up YouTube's algorithm by hitting that like and subscribe button, as well as that notification bell to be notified anytime we go live. And also, be sure to check out our online store. The ice shirts and the No King shirts are still on sale for the low price of $21.99. Tell me where you're going to find a shirt cheaper than that. I guarantee you ain't going to find it anywhere like that, especially with the type of content we produce. And, of course, all the other goodies that we've got here. Oh, Anonymous, where art thou? Toilet Paper USA, Spam Bunny, Design This Butt Plug. Again, all on sale for $21.99. We've also got the classic TWBRN shirts, the Flower of Life shirt, logo shirt, Truth is Louder Than Bullets, Charlie Kirk Memorial shirt. Not going nowhere. Single Taken, Fighting the New World Order, Hating Whites for Being Whites is Racist. And so much more. You can pretty much have your pick of anything you want, and there is so much more to come, ladies and gentlemen. So do be sure to check out our online store. And also, never forget, you are as much part of the conversation as anybody. Comments are enabled. So be a part of the conversation. If you have any thoughts, opinions, revelations, or information to share, drop them in the comment section and become a part of the conversation, because TWBRN podcasts are probably the only podcasts you will ever find that have included you in the conversation. Most radio shows will have you call in and give you a guest spot for a few minutes. No, you get to be a part of the whole damn show. So again, comments are enabled. Feel free to share your comments, thoughts, opinions, revelations, trolling, whatever. Have fun. And on that note, let's go ahead and go into today's main topic, shall we? The main topic is: has Christianity become complacent in the United States, and even in many regards leaving or taking a back seat? This was proposed by Tommy Bird last night. He hit me up saying he wanted to do a podcast, so he may be joining us a little bit later. He's got some personal things that he's dealing with at the moment. But all things permitted, he will be here later, again, if all things are permitted. But in the meantime, we're going to move forward on these topics and look into it. So, is Christianity complacent? Well, looking at recent events, let's take a look at recent events here. You have everything that's going on in Minnesota. And Revan has joined us. Welcome, Revan. Welcome, Revan.
Yeah, she's ugly.
Welcome, Revan.
Hey, dude.
How you feeling this morning, brother?
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm awake. Got a little bedhead, but I can fix it real quick.
No problem. Handle your business. Again, we might be being joined by Tommy Bird here in a little bit. This was his idea, so we're just waiting on him to join. But as you know, we carry on moving forward as always. The topic again is as Christianity become complacent. And as I was just getting into, we're looking at current events. You see everything going on in Minnesota, all the ICE protests and riots and whatnot. Call it what you will.
Yeah, man.
And you see the Epstein files, which I'll get into in a moment. But you look at everything that's going on in Minnesota. And Aaron and I had this conversation last night, and I pointed this out. And this is something that I can actually respect Democrats for, is they are not complacent. If they are passionate about something and all that, they're willing to take a stand. They're willing to fight and even die for it. Whereas a lot of conservatives are kind of caught up.
I'm going to use the restroom real quick, then come back.
All right, you need somebody to hold it for you?
I wish it was there.
Apparently, Reverend has lost his penis. But you see, Christianity, or not Christianity so much, but the Democrats, they're willing to fight and die for their beliefs. But conservatives, it's kind of the old, give them bread and circuses and they'll never revolt. Give them beer, nachos, and football, and they'll remain complacent. I mean, you see all the... And in case you're wondering what that noise is, I've got a squirrel on the roof. Yeah, driving my cat nuts. But we really don't see the right, the conservatives, the Christians, really taking as dynamic a stand as the left are. And that's what I pointed out to Aaron, that I can respect the left for, because they're willing to fight and die for what they believe in. The Muslims are willing to fight and die for what they believe in.
Exactly.
But Christian conservatives are very complacent. And Tommy Bird wanted to bring it up last night. This was his idea, asking if Christianity was leaving in lieu of everything that's been going on, woke culture, the Epstein files. I mean, you look at Trump yesterday. This pissed me the fuck off. I'm going to go ahead and play it. And I want everybody to pay attention to what's being reported on in this article. But this is what really ticked me the fuck off yesterday with Trump. Like, I am so beyond pissed about this.
Hearing over redaction failures in the Epstein files has now been cancelled. Lawyers for survivors had asked the court to intervene because the files contained some victims' images and their names. Meanwhile, President Trump is calling for the country to move on.
I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Really. Now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman is here with us in studio with more on this. Katrina, good morning. We were all shocked on Friday when we saw how much was not redacted in these files. So why was today's court hearing canceled?
Errol, the judge says that the parties have managed to deal with this privately, all of these privacy issues. And yesterday there was a letter that really potentially foreshadowed this. It was from the survivor's attorney, and they gave DOJ a couple options. They asked them to get all these redactions done by noon today or take down the files. And if they did that, they said we wouldn't need a hearing. Now, we don't know what the exact terms are that they came to, but it's been said that they had extensive and constructive discussions, that they now feel confident that the DOJ is going to remedy this, that further harm will not happen. But it's
Okay, so that there in and of itself is relatively interesting because in most cases, you don't have redactions in terms of children. If there's a rape or something that meets the criteria, I mean, you see it all the time on social media, a media report or a story that's being reported on independently of a child victim who was raped or murdered by their family. You hear about that shit all the time. The mother drove her kids into the fucking lake and drowned them. Okay, there was no redactions on that information. And you remember back in the day, we talked about this before, Anthony Martinez. There was no redactions on who the victim was or what had happened. It was all public information. So why the double standard in needing to redact the information of these people, especially considering they are now adults?
Exactly.
It makes no sense to me. I mean, I understand new laws come into effect all the time. But even now, we have information that comes out involving minors and pertaining to things like murder, sexual assault, child abuse, so on and so forth, where the information is not redacted. So why the redactions and why the complacent ass kissing by the DOJ, and why this whole thing with Trump going, oh, we just need to move on and America needs to get off this. It did unexonerated, so we didn't need to move on. Motherfucker, it ain't about you.
No.
You orange cocksucking Israel tongue.
What it is that this is the third time. This is the third time. First time we all thought, oh, right, it's released. No. Liz Wheeler, who used to work for One American News Network, got, and she shows, most of them are all blackened out. Most of them are all blacked out.
Yeah.
And this is just a, I mean, look, they're adults. Look.
Yeah.
You have Bill Gates admitting his shit with Jeffrey Epstein, man.
Yeah, no, not just the stuff between he and his wife, where he drugged his wife and got the drugs and antibiotics from Epstein, and it's documented. But you have the documentation of the pandemic, how they planned COVID and everything that happened with that. It was all planned, and it's documented in the emails. That warrants criminal prosecutions. Okay, Gates, Fauci, everybody else involved in that we should be seeing indictments from this.
Exactly.
You have all the fraud in Minnesota, yet there's no arrests taking place. You have governors and mayors and Democratic politicians telling their constituents to get violent, to double down, to break the law, to get themselves killed, to start an insurrection, breaking the law and starting an insurrection and attempt to circumvent the law and secede from the United States and starting a civil war. These are criminal offenses. And yet you have Donald Trump going, I had a great conversation with Tim Walz. It was an amazing phone call. You would not believe how great of a phone call it was. Blah, 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 blah. I'm Donald Trump. I'm so great. Like, come on, dude. You were not elected to have great phone calls with people who are breaking the law. Okay? You were elected to drain the swamp. You were elected to destroy the globalist regime and arrest and have these people arrested. You can, I need to make this clear. You cannot make America great so long as the globalists remain free. Until the globalists and those pushing this New World Order agenda are in prison and their system of control is dismantled to the point that it can never return, America will not be great. Okay, your MAGA campaign will be a colossal failure if you fail to accomplish this one goddamn thing. And I understand there are a shit ton of elements that go into this. It's a very intricate process. But the biggest thing that he can do for his public image, because that seems to be what he cares about most, is his public fucking image. Okay, you want people to like you. You want people to have a favorable public image of you, Donald Trump. Get the arrests. Okay, not just indictments that go nowhere. Okay, we want arrests. We want prosecutions. We want trials that are seen all the way through to jury verdicts. We want to see convictions. We want to see guilty verdicts. We want to see sentences carried out. Trump, get it through your fucking head, bro. And this is not a threat of violence. This is just pointing out the reality of the facts. You were elected to get these people locked up and get justice served peacefully so that a violent revolution could be avoided. If you do not do this, then violent revolution will become inevitable. If you do not arrest these globalist pieces of shit, then the people will go after and subsequently hang. You know, you're going to have lynch mobs. You will face lynch mobs. And I am not advocating for violence. I am not advocating for lynch mobs. I'm just stating the facts. If Trump does not get this done and get these globalists locked up in the fucking cages where they fucking belong, you are going to have lynch mobs going after these people, and you, Trump, Donald Trump, may in fact face the very real prospect of being lumped in with that sum that these people will be going after. Again, I am not advocating for violence. I do not encourage anybody to get violent or to form lynch mobs. I am just pointing out these simple facts.
This would take us, this will take us back to two eras. The Old West and the Civil Rights era.
It will. I mean, even in the 1800s, you had French revolutionaries ripping their officials out of their homes and hanging them in the courtyards or lynching them. They would set up guillotines and lynch their leaders in the courtyards. Exactly. They would rip them out of their homes in the middle of the night and lynch them.
Marie Antoinette, her famous word was,
let them eat cake.
Let them eat cake, yeah.
Yeah, and look what happened to her. Okay, and what we have going on here is so much worse, but yet Americans, especially on the conservative side, seem to be complacent, especially our elected officials. They seem to be very, very complacent. You had 7 attorneys from the DOJ resign this past week because of the things with Epstein. You've had some Democratic attorneys who have resigned because they've been found having been named in the Epstein files as well. So we are seeing some headway, but my concern is, why are Americans, especially on the right, as Christian conservatives, so fucking complacent? Like, where are the French revolutionaries? Where are the 1776ers? Where are the Catholic crusaders that we used to have? Society seems to have been so dumbed down and complacent, but at least on the right, and become so pacifist. But yet the left is so aggressive. They're willing to fight and die. They're willing to go out there in the freezing fucking cold. I mean, you're talking Minnesota weather where it's single digits, if not below 0 up there. And they're out there raising holy hell in the middle of the night in freezing winter weather. we can't get
exactly.
Christian conservatives to put down their goddamn football and nachos for 5 minutes.
You have the left blaming right-wing influencers. Well, let me get to there for a moment here. You have influencers on both sides, right? Can't blame one. You got to blame both because they both blame each other. Blame the other side. But the thing is, the game. These influencers, who are they? Look, I'll say it again. Who are these influencers influencing? Absolutely fucking nobody.
Yeah,
They do it. They do it for clout. They do it for views. They do it for subs. They do it for followers. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
No more, no less.
Yeah, they speak about this nonsense, yet they probably don't even agree with it. And you don't see these influencers out there.
No.
You know,
they become keyboard warriors, man. You know, that shit.
Yeah, I mean, you had Lemon that got arrested, but you know, that's because he got involved in the protests and whatnot. He really kind of shot himself in the foot. Whereas us, we'll go out there and we'll cover events, but we won't get in the middle of it. We won't become agitators or part of the problem. Like the No Kings protest.
Exactly.
That last protest, we stayed sitting in a lawn chair across the street, documenting it where we were supposed to be. The No Kings
A church is supposed to be a place of worship, a place where you can be protected. And I guess there's a law now that I found out that if you interrupt a worship,
it's the same law that the Democrats were using to arrest people praying at abortion clinics. They weren't in abortion clinics. They weren't in the clinics. They were outside or in the hallways. You know, they weren't obstructing anybody. They weren't interfering with anybody. They were just sit-ins and peaceful protests and prayers. Okay, they weren't agitating. They didn't bust into the building making a ruckus or anything. You had a lot of quiet prayer. I'm not saying definitively that there weren't people who were acting as agitators. There might have been. But you notice you didn't see a whole lot of pushback on that. You didn't see a whole lot of pushback in saying, hey, what the fuck from the Christian community. You didn't have the Christian community getting in an uproar like the left are doing. And like I was telling Aaron yesterday, I can, even if I do not agree with why they're doing it, and I have my own opinions and whatnot based on my research and understanding, I can at least say I can respect these people in the regards that they've gone out, they're going out and are willing to fight and die for something they believe in, which is far more than what we ourselves are willing to do.
Well, the thing is, I've been really not so much the ICE BP actually all crap. It seems that Bill Gates. I'm gonna talk just a little bit here.
Go for it.
Bill Gates is upset. I'll tell you why. Okay, check this out.
He's been hacked.
Linux is outpacing Windows.
Well, that's nothing new.
Bill Gates is pissed off about why are people look. When did Windows 11 come out? About what, 3 years ago?
Yeah, give or take.
Okay. People are still using Windows 10.
Yeah. Because most everything that Windows comes out with anymore is crap.
Exactly. And somehow Windows 10 somehow fixed it all, I guess. But I'm not, again, grain of salt, folks, grain of salt. Yeah, you have corporations wanting to hold on to Windows 10 because of what I mean, it's perfect. But they're willing to pay Microsoft a certain amount of money for protection for the thing, because Windows 10 is better than Windows 11. It seems that some things you do, Windows 11 fucks it up. But here you got, but here you got Linux coming in. They're choosing Linux or Mac.
Yeah.
And but get to saying, fuck you Windows haters. Dude. Bill Gates did not create the system.
No, he just stole it from his roommate.
He stole it. He claimed that he did. No. Bill Gates is not no tech guy, man. He may have owned the company, but here's the thing. He's never written code. None of that shit. He's just a guy who came in, bought the operating system, whatever, and ran with it for years and shit like that,
Yeah.
And he's making money on something that he did not create.
Yeah, and everything that has come out of Microsoft was somebody else's work. He never had a fucking hand in that. Even the eugenics shit. You think this guy's a fucking eugenicist? He don't know jack shit. He's just a fucking pencil pusher.
And what's funny is that he's been interviewed. He goes, what was your biggest accomplishment? Well, he said, creating the most famous operating system. Just got him off and go, dude.
You didn't create that.
You didn't create shit.
Yeah, I've seen that interview. That's been circulating around a lot lately, and he turns blood red. Like, you could tell he was pissed.
And then he had an Indian lady, she was interviewed, and she said, Bill Gates didn't create shit.
Of course he didn't.
The thing is, to him, it's about ego, it's about arrogance, it's about ignorance, all that shit. But when the truth hits him, when the truth gets him the biggest nut punch, dude.
Exactly.
He fumes like, oh, dude, you did not create shit. Someone else did, and you came in and took it. And when the truth came out, oh, nut punch, dude.
Exactly. But you getting back to all of this, we're still not seeing any prosecutions. We see all this criminal behavior from Gates. No arrest, no indictments, no prosecutions, nothing.
No anything.
All this stuff. 3 million pages on these Epstein files incriminating so many people in so many crimes, to the point of treason and crimes against humanity.
My question
nothing.
My question
I think America needs to move on from this Epstein thing.
No. Nobody's moving on.
No. The thing that...
Because he said so? No.
Yeah, great. You're vindicated. Okay? That's not what we cared about. We cared about...
I never did.
We cared about these people being brought to justice. Not just being exposed, but being brought to justice. This isn't about you, Trump. Okay? And the only way it's going to be about you is if you are the hero who ended the globalist system and put these motherfuckers in the cages where they belong.
Or a villain.
Or you implicate yourself as an accessory to their crimes and the cover-up of said crimes. Okay? Like you did before. You made yourself an accessory after the fact when you tried to suppress it the first time. Now you're doing the same dumb shit again. Seriously, did you not learn your lesson from the last time around?
I almost stand by what I said last time. The reason he became president was to cover up the Epstein files, make sure that it didn't go out. And if it did, that a good amount, I would say about 65% was redacted.
Well, here's the thing. I would have to disagree with that because
I mean a lot.
I would have to disagree with that because Biden, they just sat on that shit for 4 years. Did nothing with it, didn't even talk about it. If Kamala Harris had gotten elected, it would have been more of the same. So I think if, under your assertion, I think Kamala Harris would have been the better front man in that regard and remaining complacency and just not even saying anything about the Epstein files and just completely walking away from it and just ignoring any calls to the matter. However, Trump campaigned on releasing the files and has continued to make a spectacle of himself in regards to these files, and even to the point of making an ass out of himself. Somebody who's so concerned about his ego, you would think he would be very concerned and cautious not to publicly shoot himself in the foot.
Exactly.
So,
and what did he do? Shot himself in the fucking foot.
Again and again and again.
It's every time he opens up his mouth, to the foot.
Yeah.
And
seriously,
MAGA,
Jones gave him a fucking blueprint of how to fucking fix his country, and this guy just does not follow it.
Because it's about ego, man. It's about ego.
It's not about fixing this country. Why the hell are you even here?
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
I mean, like, dude. I mean, it's like this. In my opinion, we need something else besides a Republican or a Democrat. Because, look, we've been through this shit for 250 years, man. Almost 50 years.
Yeah, and again, it's just complacency from the right. I mean, Andrew Tate posted something earlier today. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. And It was actually very interesting. I have it shared on our X feed. It said, if this man was a Muslim, the whole world would be condemning Islam right now. Because he is Jewish, everyone is silent. Bunch of hypocrites. Now, there are a bunch of people who are vocal about this issue, even though the Jewish thing isn't so much a factor anymore. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I said it. Jews! Got to throw it in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are people who are very vocal, regardless of the Jewish thing, and in many cases, because of the Jewish thing. And again, we got to be very careful with how we play with that, because we don't want to create another Adolf Hitler. We don't want another Holocaust. We want the criminals brought to justice.
Exactly.
But we don't want innocent people getting killed in the process. And that's another thing that Trump needs to understand.
People, look, no matter what we say, like, make sure innocent people are here. Look, we can say that till we're blue in the face. Okay, we all know that people will get hurt. People will get and die. I mean, it's just that it's the way things are being run now. Is not a good thing.
I agree.
Because of the Epstein bullshit, because of the Greenland shit, it's all a distraction on top of a distraction. It is what it is. I don't like it no more than anybody else does. I mean, shit. I want to see them locked up and put away. I mean, look. Here's how I want to see it. But of course, it ain't gonna happen. But let's just stop. let's talk to France in secret about reopening the French colonial prison they have, okay? The most brutal prison ever of the time. Send these cocksuckers over that prison, throw away the key, and pretend they never existed.
Yeah.
Or talk to Rush about put them in the gulag and throw away the key and pretend they never existed as well. But I can't say that because, like, oh, we gotta watch this guy because he said about taking these pedophiles and on list. Look, again, it's my opinion, it's my thought. I'm going to fucking say it, and I will, because anybody on that list needs to go to the gulag, needs to go to the French colonial prison, and never be heard from again.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would agree with that consensus in many regards. I mean, I don't see many people really arguing this point. So
it's a political fan base that is trying to somehow come up with some bullshit to start their fake revolution, man. I mean, come on now.
It is.
Look, we're all old enough to see this and say this. Look, I grew up in the 80s. Okay, I grew up in the 80s, right? I grew up when the Grenada War happened, Iran Contra happened, and all this shit,
Yeah.
I mean, shit, But I remember George Bush talking about the New World Order, and then sending the Navy SEAL, sending the military to go after Noriega in '89 for the reason we're going to send in the military got the Noriega. Noriega refuses to be our bitch. Well, the thing is, when he did that, George Bush says, we got him, and we're going to charge him with drug. No, Noriega was never a drug guy. Never, because it seems it's their favorite thing of, well, we're going to do a drug charge. Go fuck yourself while pulling out and dying.
Just like Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction that nobody ever fucking found.
I mean, it's one thing after another. They set him up. Noriega was no drug guy. What it was, he was being punished for not following the rules of the New World Order. He said, "Fuck you guys, ain't gonna do it."
Yeah, and yesterday, on the American Journal, one of the headlines was J.D. Vance. Trump is trying to form his own New World Order. Now, I didn't get a chance to really sit down and watch the whole thing, as I had to go to work after yesterday's podcast. But I was trying to skim through it, and aside from many other interesting things that were covered on the American Journal, I had yet to be able to sit down and find that exact statement in that show. So I'm gonna have to sit down and just watch from beginning to end the full 3 hours of that fucking show and find that segment. But I've been questioning that for a long time. Is he trying to dismantle what we thought the New World Order was going to be and instill something else? A New World Order of another kind, order out of chaos. Because the New World Order plan, from what we thought, was Clower and Piven, Great Reset, all of that. But what if it's simply order out of chaos? MAGA-based New World Order. We've been seeing that a lot, and apparently J.D. Vance is even saying it. And I don't know if this is true or not. I have not watched The Simpsons in years, but apparently The Simpsons made an episode talking about Trump staying in 2028, which I'm going to go ahead and play here. I don't know if this is true or not, or whether just more Facebook jargon, but it's
probably a Facebook jargon, man. You know,
probably. I haven't watched The Simpsons in years, so if anybody out there watches The Simpsons and can substantiate this, do post it in the comments. But here is the video in question.
Trump remains president in 2028. The Simpsons showed exactly how it could happen. In a forgotten episode, Kent Brockman breaks the news. Against all odds and laws, President Trump remains in office again. Lisa drops her book. Bart grabs a marker and updates all his stolen campaign signs to Trump 2028. Marge gasps. Homer shrugs. As long as gas is cheap. Lisa rushes to the library. She reads the new law rushed through Congress. Presidential Emergency Stability Clause. Term limits suspended during national crises. And suddenly, there are a lot of crises. Economic panic, global tensions, cyber attacks. All shown in dramatic TV flashes. Springfield changes overnight. Schools reopen under the Department of Patriotism. Gas stations give discounts to drivers wearing Trump 2028 hats. The DMV hands out voter loyalty pledges with every new license. Lisa tries to protest. Meanwhile, new murals pop up around town. Trump riding an eagle. Trump signing the Constitution 2.0. Trump remains president in 2028. The Simpsons showed exact.
Yeah, even if that wasn't an actual episode, just the ideas that are put forward are not unfeasible. I mean, you look at what Zelensky is doing. You look at what Bibi Netanyahu is doing, keeping their countries in conflict so that they can stay in power.
It is what it is.
It's not. We can't say that Trump or any sitting president couldn't or wouldn't do that.
It's about power, man. It's about, staying in power as long as they can.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's going to be a point where, that there's going to be somebody in Netanyahu's inner circle. There's going to be somebody in Zelensky's inner circle that's going to have a complete disillusioned of the assholes and somehow plan to take them out.
Yeah, I mean, Jones has talked about it all the time, about how the elites have their own fleet of yachts and bunkers and whatnot, and people that work for them and their security detail. And Jones puts out, it's like, how long do you think your security detail is going to keep you safe and not turn on you? I mean,
there's going to be a point.
It's fair. It's a fair assumption.
Exactly. It's like the filming dog being abused so much that it decides to just turn.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that'll happen. When?
Oh, no doubt.
When? We don't know. Where? No clue. But what will happen one day? Sure.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of Republicans are looking for Trump to be this hero, and he's just kind of pushing the idea of making the Democratic left, no kings protesters, right in their assertion, setting up this globalist regime.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's very concerning. And I'm looking for something right now. Don't mind me. I'm just looking for something. I'm going to try to create something with AI, which you're going to get a kick out of because it's fucking funny. And it's not working. Damn it. I'm going to have to do it on my computer. Do a new shirt for our store. In honor of the Epstein files being dropped, I think we'll post the police composite sketch of the Epstein lemon penis. What do you think?
Oh, shit.
Have you seen the lemon penis?
No.
Aaron did this. I'll bring it up. I'll see if I can show it without it being blurred. It's on my phone. But it's fucking hilarious. Turn that into a police composite sketch. Have you seen this man?
WHNT News 19 reported Child Predator Death Penalty Act passed in the Senate February 5th.
Okay, let's hear this.
Desk to be signed. The bill puts capital punishment on the table for criminals who sexually torture, rape, or sodomize children under 12 in the first degree. Senator April Weaver says she brought the bill after an alleged sex trafficking ring was discovered at an underground bunker in Bibb County.
I believe extreme child sexual abuses like this deserve the death penalty. Crimes against our precious children are the worst of the worst offenses and deserve the worst of the worst punishments.
On social media, the governor said, quote, "We have to do everything we can to protect Alabama's children." She went on to say she looks forward to signing the bill into law.
There's a woman in Florida who was a cop. She was 25 years old.
Okay, so is this a state thing or is this a federal thing?
State.
Okay, well, at which point?
I really can't.
That's definitely something that should be picked up on the federal level, because especially considering all the information that came out in this 3 million page Epstein dump.
Exactly.
I mean, you got a lot of shit: torture, human sacrifice, cloning, human experimentation. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean,
it does, man.
They pointed out the only thing that is more damning than these emails is the Anthony Weiner laptop. You know, why isn't Trump pushing to have that come out? Is he on the Anthony Weiner laptop? There we go. Hey, Democrats, push for the Anthony Weiner laptop. Maybe Trump's on that. Maybe you'll get him implicated on that.
It was actually Hillary Clinton's laptop.
No, Hillary Clinton bleached and destroyed her servers and all that shit. Anthony Weiner's laptop was recovered by the FBI. They've seen it. Everything on there is documented. But it never came forward.
Why?
So I think maybe it's time for things regarding the Anthony Weiner laptop to come forward. And hey, if the Democrats want to try to get Trump on something, demand the Anthony Weiner laptop come out and see if he's on that.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm not playing bipartisan here. I'm not being for Trump or against Trump. Or for Democrats or against Democrats. I'm just saying, devil's advocate here. Devil's advocate.
Here's a guy. Here's a guy.
My enemy is my friend, kind of thing.
Oh, good. Here's a guy. He used to be what a senator.
Yeah.
And then
and the big thing back in the day was he was showing his wiener to people on the internet. In the mainstream, it wasn't even covered that it was kids that he was sending pictures of his wiener to, just that he was showing off his wiener.
He started making a comeback by running for mayor of New York and shit.
Oh God!
Like
well,
really?
I mean, we all know how that went.
Like really? You're gonna run? You're going to try to fix your shit by running for mayor of New York and shit, man? All of a sudden, you got a little bit too intense, so you bowed out because maybe because your wife caught you with your hand or your dick in the cookie jar.
Yeah, adolescent cookie jars at that.
Don't want to know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the whole big thing. Apparently, the Wiener laptop is more damning than the Epstein files, apparently. So I'd like to see that come out.
They're both damaging, man. And they know that.
Yeah. But even at that, Trump needs to do something. He can't just sit there and say, okay, well, I'm vindicated. We need to move on. It's not about vindicating Trump. He needs to understand it. It's not about vindicating. It's about draining the swamp, arresting the globalists, and ending their control over this country and the world. Until Trump does that, he is a colossal failure.
Yes.
If Trump does not do it, he is implicating himself as an accessory to the globalist New World Order conspiracy.
One of the reasons why,
as well as all the information that's come out in the Epstein files. Everything.
One of the reasons why people are turning on him is, look, let's take files off of him over here, okay? Let's bring in the Greenland thing here, okay? Look, okay. When he threatened NATO, okay, bad idea.
Greenland, not really, because we make up the majority of NATO. Like,
yeah, but still, there's more countries. Look, every country will back each other up. Look, it don't matter if we make up or not. There are other NATO countries that'll come in and protect Greenland. That's the point.
Yeah.
Just because
they probably won't do so well, but I do see your point. You don't want to alienate yourself from the rest of the world.
Exactly.
Is what you're saying. And I can agree with that. On the flip side, I can say, flipping the bird to the EU and what all they're doing, and Zelensky and the EU trying to drag us into war via NATO Article 5. I would definitely say, getting ourselves, quote, kicked out of NATO would not necessarily be a bad thing. And this whole thing with Greenland could be a proxy to do that. Again, devil's advocate here. Just looking at both sides of the fence here and the possibilities. I don't think NATO should have remained a thing after the Berlin Wall fell. Because it was set up after World War II, which was really fucking stupid. Because we set up NATO after World War II to protect European countries from the Soviet Union, which wasn't even really a threat. They just wanted to be left the fuck alone.
No.
Okay? The only problem anybody had with the Soviet Union was when Hitler got a wild hair up his ass and thought he was big shit and was going to take on Russia. Only to wind up getting his ass kicked.
Not just that, but Russia was first to be in space first.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to freaking... You need NATO because you want to have an arms race and a space race? Come on, dude.
Russia has it. Look, we all know Russian leaders. They're look, almost up here and say this.
Go for it.
Most of the Russian leaders are a lot smarter than our leaders. Some.
Oh, yeah.
To tell you why. They know that if they started a war with us, it will be
a nuclear holocaust.
It would be a multiple decade war.
It wouldn't even be that. It would be the whole world gets turned into a radioactive ashtray.
Exactly.
Because it's going to escalate to the point where either ground troops and conventional weapons equal a stalemate, at which point somebody's going to fire nukes, at which point the other side is going to fire nukes, and then everybody's going to fire their nukes, and the whole world's a radioactive ashtray, and I'm just going to be sitting up on top of a hill smoking a cigarette, even though I've been quit smoking for 5 years now? No, 3 years. I've been quit smoking for 3 fucking years now. Actually, no, I quit smoking in 2022, so it's 4 years now. I've been quit smoking 4 years. I'll be if we go to nuclear fucking war and this war is turned into a fucking ashtray, the whole world's going to blow itself up, and I'm going to be sitting on top of a goddamn hill smoking a cigarette going, well, it was fun while it lasted.
Even the Cold War, right? Cold War. If you ever read the Mad magazine, Spy versus Spy,
yeah,
I have. That's what the Cold War was, man.
It was.
It wasn't really a war at all. It was
just a propaganda thing. It was a spirit.
It was this globalist propaganda dick waving contest, you know. See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And all it was just a one big over 20 plus year of an international temper tantrum dick waving contest, you know, like, dude.
Yeah, it literally was a dick
Russia was not going to tag the United States, okay? It was not. Okay?
No.
We all know that. Okay.
Yeah, because they're not suicidal any more than we're suicidal. And that's why I always say that we need an alliance with Russia. And I get a lot of people don't want an alliance with Russia and China because of the whole communist thing. And I get that. But Russia wants to be capitalist. We all know it. Russia wants to be capitalist. They want to be America number 2. They want to be Marilyn Monroe in the bed with America. Okay, we all know that. And the initial plan was to pull Russia away from China and have an alliance. And that is a smart thing to do because otherwise you have the two greatest nuclear superpowers pitted against each other and all these lesser countries acting like jackasses going, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. And if you retaliate against me, I'm going to get the Americans involved. Or on the flip side, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. And if you don't like it and you try to resist, I'm going to bring in Mama Bear Russia and whip your ass. Okay, they're keeping U.S. and Russia pitted against each other. They're a bunch of little dogs keeping the two big dogs pitted against each other. You remember those cartoons where you have the big dog in the background? He's just this big dog. He kind of just sits in the background. And you have this little dog in the front who does all the shit talking.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Exactly.
It's exactly what this is. You got all these countries talking shit and starting shit and going, well, if you do anything, the big dog behind me is gonna get you.
Look, we all know
where you got two big dogs pitted against each other, Russia and America.
We all know that Russia is not what it used to be over 30 years ago, man, or even 40 years ago. Times have changed.
Yeah, they're not the Soviet
country. Every country in the world has moved on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but there's still some assholes that want to hold on to the past. Well, I'm sorry. Even I moved on.
It's not even holding on to the past as much as it is using ignorance of the past to propagate this idea that Russia is a communist idea because they're aligned with China. I mean, we have alliances with other countries that aren't democratic, and nobody calls us. Nobody says we are them.
No.
It's capitalizing on ignorance because they want the United States in this war. They want that 5 to 10 year to 20 year war with Russia in hopes of breaking it up into 5 parts, while also subsequently crippling the United States so that Israel can become the dominant superpower.
Well, that's not going to happen because the thing is, you have countries that attacked, biding their time to just the right time to eventually drop the biggest bomb on Israel for their bullshit. Look, I got nothing against the Jew people. Okay, nothing against them.
No.
My issue is with the heads.
God protect the God-fearing Jew.
My issue is with the Zionist
cabal.
Ciabatta Jew.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones that masquerade as Jews but are not and use the name as a human shield to get away with their crimes, which is wrong. And I encourage the Jewish community to continue to stand up against this.
Exactly. Again, it's just that these fake ass chess players are pretending.
Yeah.
They're morally playing checkers while the ones who are staying back, they're playing chess.
Yeah. Well, like, here's the thing. You want to get into the broader scheme of things. The traditional Christian, they have been so complacent about this, about everything since, 2008 with the whole gay marriage thing, since 2008 on up until now. The Christian community has been very passive and complacent. Yeah, they opposed, what was it, Prop 8 or Prop 10 or whatever the fuck it was in California. And it passed, and gay marriage, people voted against gay marriage in California, and then it was overturned, but nobody fought that. Nobody really fought that and said,
not just that, the will
of the people have spoken.
The Mormon Church spent $122 million.
They did. In fact, you do notice the Latter-day Saints are the Latter-day Saints seem to be the only ones who are active and fighting back in many regards. Now, granted, they got themselves caught up in a bunch of bullshit later. Just like the Catholics did.
Man.
Yeah,
Dude.
But you notice after the fact, nobody did anything. Not the Catholics, not the secular Protestant Christians, not the No, none of these people. None of these people said anything up after the Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional and overturned the election result.
Yeah.
The Christian community remained oddly silent to that. Yeah, you had moderate resistance, like, a Christian pastor will refuse to marry somebody, or a Christian judge will refuse to marry somebody, or a Christian baker will refuse to do a wedding cake for somebody who's having a gay marriage. Because it goes against their religious foundations. But after that, you only had a few examples, but after that, it remained silent until all the way up to this freaking trans thing. And now you're starting to see some pushback, but not to the point that it's actually making any sort of an impact, really. Yeah, you have information being exposed, but if your elected officials aren't doing anything and you're not willing to put down your goddamn beer and nachos and your fucking football to pick up the phone and call your congressman and say, hey, pass the SAFE Act. Hey, do this. Hey, Orange Man, get on Pam Bondi's ass or fire her and get some fucking prosecutions on the people involved in these Epstein files.
You also have that one lady in Kentucky who denied a gay couple a marriage license. And then later on, denied a straight couple a marriage license. Like, dude.
Yeah.
Like you work for the county clerk's office, right? She says, I get my thing from the Lord. You work for the government. Maybe
you're in the wrong profession at that point, but at which point, again, Christian values really took a back seat in terms of schools, the courthouse, and government. Trump was at a Christian breakfast summit. I forget what exactly it was called yesterday morning. And he was pointing out that he was the only president in recent history that has fought for the Christian community. And I don't know that I'm really seeing much in that regard. I mean, you have those people that were praying at these abortion clinics, how they've been exonerated, how they've been released from jail and their records cleared and expunged. Has any sort of government restitution been made there? Like, seriously?
It's really, to a point to all this, like it's bullshit, okay? when you deny someone a marriage license, and you give the reason of, oh, guy wasn't happy. Come out. Okay, come out. Look. You were hired to do a job, okay? To do a job.
Yeah.
You don't bring in your religious beliefs to work. Okay.
I would look at it more in terms like this. You can have your beliefs. You're not the one who's engaging in a gay marriage. But at the same time, God said don't eat the forbidden fruit, but he didn't remove the fruit from the garden. He didn't remove the tree from the Garden of Eden.
No.
People have to have that right to choose. Now, instead of denying a person a marriage license, maybe just pass it to another clerk and say, look, I can't touch this. And just let another clerk handle it.
That should
because
be
there are plenty of county clerks who don't have a problem with that. So I would say
if you can't do
like
it,
that, just step away.
I agree there. If you can't do it, have someone else do it,
Yeah. I mean, you can remain firm in your Christian beliefs without obstructing your job or obstructing constitutional rights and the freedom to choose. Okay?
Exactly.
If somebody else wants to eat the forbidden fruit, that's their prerogative. If somebody else wants to sin, that's their prerogative. Okay, that is not for us to try to control or dictate. It is not for us to try to remove temptation. It is not for us to try to remove the tree that grows the forbidden fruit. It is up to us to refrain from eating the forbidden fruit and to choose the right. But everybody else has their agency, and we cannot deny people their agency.
Was the forbidden fruit knowledge?
There were two trees in the Garden of Eden. There was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and there was the tree of life.
Okay.
The serpent had tricked Eve into eating the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, but did not have her eat of the tree of life, which would have made her immortal.
Because if you all know in the game Assassin's Creed, right, the Apple of Eden, right, the round sphere, the Apple of Eden, the sphere of knowledge, right there.
Okay.
And they whoever touched it would see things that they wouldn't believe, like future things or whatever. And it is what it is. The apple on the tree was the apple of knowledge, man.
Yeah.
It was forbidden knowledge. I mean, we all know that it was a knowledge that
bite the fruit. She bites the fruit and goes, "Oh, that's a penis." You remember that skit?
Yeah.
It's like there's a snake between your legs. No, that's a penis. What's a penis? Eats the fruit. Oh, that's a penis.
But look, it's gone down. The way I see it right now, it's gone down to the wire, man.
Yeah.
And that wire is straight and set. On the side is the biggest explosive of holy shit, waiting for somebody to hit that wire. All of a sudden,
yeah. Well, I mean, another thing, leading back into this, the Christian community has been so complacent and whatnot over the years, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, if you don't stand up for your values, you'll lose your values. And as Christians, and especially fathers, we understand that it's the mother over the children, the husband over the family, and God over the home, right?
Exactly.
Now, you notice in the past 30 years or so, the system has systematically removed the father from the picture and alienated him and demonized him. I mean, the equivocal Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin type mentality is how fathers are viewed, or lying, cheating bastards who go for milk and never come back kind of thing. And then you have this woke culture and feminism. Feminism fucking ruined the family. You have women trying to be men, and if men resist that and say, no, we don't want men, otherwise we'd suck dick. We want women. We want feminine women. If you suggest you want a feminine woman in a traditional marriage, you're misogynistic or toxic masculinity. Men are demonized for wanting the traditional thing, which is really fucking stupid, because you have created this society, this paradigm where women think they're the prize. No. Love women to death, but let's face fucking facts here. Women are not the prize. They are the product. Men are the investors. Women want a man who's going to take care of them and give them princess treatment and all that, at which point the man is the investor. Men don't invest in products they don't want. That is not toxic masculinity. That is not misogyny. Yeah. That is a simple fucking fact. If I am an investor, if I go to the store, I'm not going to buy, and I'm going to buy a can. Say I'm going to go buy a fucking can of soup, or better yet, a thing of potato chips. Potato chips are a prime example of this. You get these big ass fucking bags of potato chips, but half of it's fucking empty. No, I want a full bag of fucking potato chips. I'm not going to pay $6 for a fucking party size bag of fucking Cheetos, and the majority of it's fucking air. Okay, I'm going to be pretty fucking pissed off, and I'm not going to buy that product. If it's if the majority of the bag is fucking air, and I'm not getting what I wanted, and I'm not getting what I fucking paid for, I'm not going to fucking buy it. And it's the same thing with any fucking product, including women.
Half empty.
Yeah. Yeah, men want a certain thing. They want a woman who is going to be a wife, a Proverbs whatever wife. Okay, but you get whores, you get boss babes, you get masculine energy, all these things that men don't want. And then they're sitting there saying, oh, where are all the good men at? Why are all the men misogynist and all this other shit? They're not. They're right there. You either friend zone them or call them a fucking misogynist because you don't want to be women. You have demonized men to the point of hating men. And now you're trying to be men and turn men into women.
Exactly. You know,
and you wonder why the Christian community are now a bunch of simp little bitches, and you got the mainstream Christianity being pro-leftist. Conservative Christianity and liberalism don't mesh.
This is why you see groups of men create following MGTW, which stands for Men Go Their Own Way.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this.
You've mentioned it quite a few times.
Yeah. And the thing is, I was in a marriage that didn't go well. I went south, And
it does happen.
And it does. But also, not just that, is that the woman wants full control of the house. Like queen cunt of what the hell,
Yeah, she wants a man who's gonna be a leader and a provider, a leader and protector, but she doesn't want to submit. You can't have it both ways. You can't have two people in the goddamn driver's seat.
But also they want the guy to basically.
Yeah. They want to be the man of the house, and then they leave the marriage because he's not masculine enough. They emasculate men. Especially in the Christian community, you see it all the time. Men being emasculated and being turned into women and feminized, while the women become masculine and boss babe and all this bullshit. And then they're miserable. They leave their fucking marriages because they're not fucking happy because they're not in their natural feminine. They've been taught. I mean, how fuck does it have to be that? How long did it fucking take to convince women that being women was bad? There's nothing wrong with being a woman, wanting a family, wanting to stay home and have somebody love and protect you. Most women inherently want that. They want a man who's going to be a good provider, a protector, who's going to take charge. That's why they go for the bad boys, because they think they're strong and will protect them. They go for the guys who have a lot of money because of the financial security, but they don't want to submit.
No. I came across.
They want somebody who's going to take charge and lead, but then they don't want to fucking submit. And then if the guy yields to them, then they lose respect and leave. It's like, oh, you changed. It's like, you wanted me to be this thing. I became this thing, and now you're not happy with it.
I came across a story yesterday, and it's like for 45 minutes, and it's about this woman. Met with a guy, nice guy, make sure that she's took care of everything else, and very, very polite, and she's with her friends, and they go on this trip. He's with them. He's in the back, reading the book, and her friends come up with an idea of leaving him behind at the gas station as a joke. Okay.
Yeah.
She goes along with it. Okay, the wife goes along with it. And they leave. They're gone for 4 hours. He's calling her, texting her. Hey, where you at? She turns the phone off. Okay. They go back to go pick him up. He's gone. He ain't there. But they find his phone. She gets a call from a trucker saying, "Yeah, I found some guy's phone and but they have his wallet in their glove compartment in their car's glove compartment, and he 3 days later she gets divorce papers. 3 days later."
Yeah, men equate love with respect. And if you don't respect your man, that's going to be a problem. I mean, I've been in this myself. You know what I'm referring to. Men equate love with respect. Love is a choice. And men equate love with respect. This person, as in many instances with modern day women, chose to disrespect me. So I chose to leave and no longer allow the disrespect.
So the story, her friends block her on social media, whatever. And her life's like destroyed.
Totally
lost her job, lost everything. And then years later, she hires a private investigator to find the guy. He's in another town, owning 3 restaurants. He's married, has 3 kids.
There you go.
And her friends contact her again. They go to the restaurant where he's at, where he's living, and he sees them. He walks over, writes a check for $73.50. This is how much I was worth to you. So, vice versa. And he goes, leave, and then we'll come back to my restaurant. They leave. One of the friends give her $100 for the bus ticket. Go home. After all that, her friends cut her off. Block her on everything. Then she gets text, delete my number. Okay, turn out. Okay, well, why is it? My question is, why is it that you, as a woman who married a guy who worships the ground you walk on, respects you, loves you, does everything for you, but you have friends whose their lives are fucked up, you know? One friend with her 3 marriages gets alimony and child support. One friend is a mom now. She doesn't want to go through this crap again as last time, you know?
Yeah.
But the other friend goes through a terrible divorce. Like,
yeah. The problem is women hate each other. Women are in constant competition with each other. If a woman has a friend and that friend is doing better than they are, they will go and sabotage, do everything they can to try to sabotage and get in their friend's ear and fuck up their friend's shit because that friend is doing better in some regard than that person, whether it be a relationship, finances, whatever. You even see it with parents and mothers with their daughters. You see this quite often, that the mother will try to lead their daughter and control their daughter and live vicariously through their daughter. And if their daughter does not do everything to the letter, then all hell breaks loose.
exactly.
And if the daughter gets married, you know, oftentimes it'll be the mother in their daughter's ear ruining their daughter's relationship because the mother or the friends will be in the wife's ear, putting ideas in her head, fucking her shit up, encouraging toxic behavior to the point that the relationship is sabotaged.
Well, not just that. There are times where the mom falls for her daughter's man.
Yeah. And it's not even a legitimate attraction to the person as much as it is the idea of wanting what somebody else has. Now, a lot of people in this world are guilty of it, men and women, you know, covetous behavior. Okay. And a lot of what you have just described is covetous behavior. They see what their daughter has and they themselves don't have it because they're either divorced or in a relationship that may not be doing as hot as their daughter is. And they subconsciously want that and start forming an attachment. That's not real love. It's just an attachment to the idea
Obsession.
of covetous behavior and possession. Yeah.
Obsessiveness. There was another story I came across a few years ago where this woman's in this guy and she takes him to meet her parents. Their mom sees the guy like, oh shit. Now this gets weird. It does. The guy and the mom, when he was 18 years old, had an affair with the mom. Okay.
Yeah.
The mom has 3 kids with this guy. And the daughter doesn't know it. The husband, he's like, has no clue what's going on, you know, like shit. And realize
the wife's husband or the husband of the mother?
The husband of the mother.
Okay, so the husband of the mother has no idea that his son-in-law is doinking his wife and knocking her up 3 times.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
For years. And so it's like he's 18, the mom's, I don't know how old she is. They had an affair. Stopped. But the daughter meets the same guy. They fall in love, and the mom's like,
Okay, so the daughter fell in love with the mother's lover after the fact. Okay, so I had it backwards. I thought she had married the guy, and then the guy starts cheating on his wife with his mother-in-law.
No, this was before they got together. Way before they got together.
Okay.
He was 18. The mom was, turns out he fathered the woman's mom's 3 other kids. Dad kids on like, you bitch.
Yeah.
So they're not mine. No. So the dad filed for divorce. The guy and the mom and the chick's mom end up together. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, dude, can anybody stop and think that this is bullshit? It is bullshit. It is. Society is bullshit. Okay? And I will say this: society is full of bullshit and bullshit nonetheless. Okay. And when I was with my son's mom, okay, we're still married, but not together. It's been years. Her mom used to flash me. Yeah. And did it bother me a little bit? No, because I'm a guy, but the thing is, I'm married to her daughter. But
yeah.
But the thing is,
covetous behavior.
Yeah. But is it all joking? Yeah, pretty much. But the thing is, there's boundaries never been crossed. I'll get flashed and then, but yet no cross. Line wasn't crossed. Whatever. Some may think, well, if your mother-in-law flashed you, doesn't that constitute crossing the line?
I mean, most would consider that yes. I mean, if your wife had ever found out about it, she'd probably have been furious at you both.
She knows. I mean, she knows her mom does, She flashed me when I was dating somebody else. We're at a mom's house visiting, whatever. And the one I'm with, we're talking and everything else. And as soon as the woman I'm dating leaves the room, I get flashed. Wow. I'm like, I see a permission. Did it happen? Of course it did. Got a good-looking son, smart kid. Of course, people would think, well, if your mother-in-law flashes her titties, that's crossing the line. Well, if her daughter knows that technically it's not really crossing the line. I mean, if crossing the line means, look, here
each their own in their own family dynamic, I guess.
Here's what
if your wife was cool with it and knew about it and didn't really give a shit, I mean, what can I really say to that? Most people would consider that crossing the line. Most wives would not be okay with that.
Here's what defines crossing the line, okay? If my son's mom didn't know about it, and her mom and I end up didn't know about it, then we'd be crossing the line, okay?
Yeah.
But since my son's mom knew about it, no lines were crossed. Did I affect my mother-in-law? No. Never in a million years. Never a million years. If I did, I would need a weed eater, a duck call, and stink bait.
Okay. But yeah. But why would she do all those things? Because of that covetous behavior. Women tend to pursue very toxic behaviors oftentimes, and modern day relationships. And men are guilty of it too. Let's not mince words. There are plenty of men out there who are guilty of it.
Exactly.
But
Both men,
we have created this society where women want to be men. Primarily, they want to be hosts. They want to be promiscuous. They want to be wilding out in their 18s and in their early 20s and whatnot, but then get pissed off when they're 30, 35, 40, 45 and can't find a good man because they've been ran through their entire fucking life, or because they prioritized a career pursuit of sorts and are now in their mid to late 40s ready to settle down, but they're no longer young and desirable anymore.
Too late.
Yeah. It's like women do not understand your prime value is 18 to 30. Okay. After that, your value goes, and that's provided you weren't a hoe. Okay. Let's just be honest. Okay. The high mileage thing, guys aren't very keen on that. Okay. And women will argue, well, what's the difference between a guy being a whore and a woman being a whore? Okay. Take this glass. Okay. I've got my hands on the glass. Okay. If I pour you a cup of juice and I pick up the cup with my hand, you're still going to drink the juice. But if I put my hand in the juice, you're not going to want to drink it. It's the same damn thing. Yeah. And if you've got a high body count and you've seen more wiener than an employee at Oscar Mayer, that's a problem. Okay? I believe it was Jeff Foxworthy who said it best. He compared when he was talking about rental cars. But it's a great analogy, and I think you know where I'm going. Buying a used rental car is like going to a house of ill repute looking for a wife. Anything that's been driven that hard by that many people, you really don't want to put your key in it.
Walter made a point too about the new car smell.
Honey, can I just sit in it? No.
And it makes a good point too. Like here you're driving what a.
Like I said, it's both sides of the coin.
Yeah, it is. But you have women these days, in their even their 40s and 50s, they're doing OnlyFans and shit like that. Getting into porn. Diamond Jackson, she got into porn when she was in her early 40s, man. Beautiful black woman. Like, holy crap, man. Very beautiful woman. She got into porn in her early 40s, man. Like, dude, shit.
And if that's what you want to do, that's your prerogative. But there are caveats to your behavior. And that's a big problem and why women are such a target of this. Because
if you're 18 to 24 or 25, and look, I see it on X. I love on X. I see short videos of women, guys, just going at it, and even see
that's just women, the porn platform if you really look.
Young women,
and it's not even well hidden.
What's her name? Maya. Her name is.
Are you talking about that porn star that turned activist? Maya something or other?
No, blonde gal, 25 years old. 25 years old.
I wouldn't know.
She's one of these women that would prefer an older guy, an older man.
Yeah, and most women would because, again, the financial security, men in their, women, again, going back to the value thing, women get their value right up front. At 18, if they're an 18-year-old version, you're prime fucking real estate. Men at 18 have no value because their value is contingent on what they can provide, financial security, a home, a stable lifestyle, 18 to early 20s, their kids are still figuring shit out. They really ain't got it. They really ain't got it together yet. But whereas like the 35, 40, 50-year-old guy, he's got his shit together. He's done playing. He's got his finances in order. He's got a house.
Exactly.
And, I was no exception to the rule. At 18 years old, I didn't have fucking value. Okay? I didn't have my fucking shit together. I didn't own my own house. I was working seasonal at Kmart. Okay? I didn't really have it together at that point. I hadn't really figured out what life was about. I'm 41 years old now, and now I have a great career. I own my own house. I am more than stable. My value went from 0 to whoop through the fucking roof. Okay? And women smell that shit. They fucking pick up on that shit, and they want that shit. That's why they go for the older guys, because they know 9 times out of 10, the older guy's got his shit together versus the young guy.
Exactly. But I mean, the thing is, it's about, stability, balance. I mean, basically, it's just that one wants stability, protection, all stuff like that.
Yeah. And we kind of get out into this.
And man, again, I was talking about often, we want to be invested in a good relationship, a good marriage, where we want to provide, be the the lion, the king of the jungle, all that shit of the household,
Yeah.
But the thing is, is it getting worse? Yes and no. Morally, yes, and I'll say 2% and on no. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Again, it goes back to the idea that women are trying to be men and turn men into women. And then, if they feminize the man, then they lose the attraction and they leave. And
Exactly.
You've got men who are supposed to be the providers and protectors. That's why they go for these older men and men who got their shit together. But then they don't want to submit, and they want to turn them into a fucking beta. And then you got all this shit happening with, like, what's happening in Minnesota. Primarily led by feminist liberal women. And you got a bunch of simps out there like Alex Preddy, a bunch of beta males out there, making a show for themselves, trying to get themselves some ass and getting themselves killed. Whereas you have the conservatives who are so beta-sized in their relationships, or they're single, they don't have the balls or the incentive to defend their families anymore because, women have emasculated them. They don't have it in them anymore to lead the family, to protect the family. And if you're not going to protect your family, you're not going to go out and fight for your country, or even on a moral standpoint, like what we do, okay? Because they've been emasculated so much and feminized so much that they just don't have it in them they don't have any fight left in them. And then you've got things like fluoride in the water and all this other shit that just dumbs people down. And if they're not going to fight for their family, they're not going to speak out and rail against corruption in their own government. They're not going to fight for their country. They're not going to fight for their faith. They're not going to fight for God.
Here what's funny. You got these young broads, and behind them is a nice car. Awesome car, right?
Yeah, but they're not the owner of the car.
And it's
but you don't see the owner anywhere. You see him on the boat, but you don't see the guy who owns the boat.
She'll ask, do you want to have me or the car?
I'll take the car.
Every time they go for the car.
I've seen that. And the chicks get all pissed off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, you see these guys who are using their price car as bait to expose gold diggers, you know, like they'll have young brides singing the hood of the car and whatnot, you know. Guy walk up, oh, you're so beautiful. Let me take you out, and like she look. They will dress like their mothers from 1991. You ain't juicy, okay? Stay out of your mama's closet, you cunt.
Yeah.
And they're like, and the guy is just like toying with them, and their attitude is exposed as like, I want a man, they'll give me $1 million. And like, is this your car? No, it's my man's car.
Yeah. Yeah, and
in the end, the guy goes, opens the door, he gets the car. The girl sees him get the car, like, oh, no. Pushes him out, shuts the door, and stand right in front of the door anyway, or they'll get in the dirt seat.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They'll go after these guys who got a lot of money, but then try to turn them into a simp, and they'll leave because they lose attraction. Or they just go in with the plan of, okay, I'm going to marry this guy, put up with him for 3 to 6 months, and then file for divorce and take half of his fucking assets. But then they're miserable and alone, and they can't figure out why they can't find a good fucking man.
The best part about this, I like, you want a gift? Oh, I want a gift. They'll go to the back of the car, open the trunk, and pull out a gold shovel. Here, dig for gold.
I've seen that. That was hilarious. But you know, that's the problem with women, though. They're either looking to bank in on a divorce, or they're looking for financial security and are confusing more money with more security. And that's not necessarily always the case. No. I mean, yeah, you could have a millionaire today, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have security. I mean, Bill Gates is a fucking millionaire, and he quite possibly gave his wife an STD and tried to fucking drug her with Epstein's help. I mean, just because somebody's got $1 million doesn't mean they're going to be the ideal partner. But we've had a society conditioned to that, and they've gone, okay, well, let's just X the men out of the equation and be boss babes and make our own money, but they don't want to fucking work, so they do OnlyFans. And I'm not saying there aren't women out there who work. There are plenty of women out there who will bust their asses off. I've seen it. We've all seen it. There are women out there who will go out there and do hard labor. You know, it's not just teachers, receptionists, and whatnot. There are women out there who will go work these fucking factory jobs, work very, very difficult jobs. And factory work is grueling. It's not easy work. It's not for the faint of heart. Okay, and you have a lot of women who will wind up working in these factories, working just as hard as the men. Okay, so let's not mince words here.
Before we end this broadcast, I just want to say this real quick.
What?
I came across a video yesterday. Awesome video. It was a multiverse battle. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. Check out T1000 versus
Jason Voorhees.
Uber Jason.
I've seen that. We actually did one yesterday. That inspired us to actually just have some fun. Aaron was joking. What about the T-Rex from Jurassic Park versus Jason Voorhees from Jason Takes Manhattan? You know, when Jason emerges in Manhattan, he's on the dock. What if it was the T-Rex popped out of the fucking boat in The Lost World? So We actually did that one. That was fucking pretty funny. I don't know if I fucking sent it.
They had the Hulk. They had the Hulk versus Jason Voorhees.
See, that would be funny. I can't find it. If I do, I'll post it in the comments section.
But
it was funny.
Uber Jason and T1000.
It was a draw.
It was a draw.
Yeah, it was a long drawn out video, but it was a draw. It was kind of trivial. Oh, here it is. Found it.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I made that.
But tell you what, that the ending was kind of funny because I mean you had Rambo, you had
Yeah.
Who else? Rambo, a guy from Escape from New York, and the last guy you wouldn't even think of seeing. Okay, here does metal really go through your bones? Here's Magneto.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man. They have one of Magneto versus Pinhead. I gotta see that one.
That should be interesting. But getting back on point real quick in closing, men need to get back into their masculine and women really need to get back into their feminine. You know, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, they did a great job because they wanted the idea, well, we got one tax versus coming from the household. What if we get the mother working as well? Then we're doubling down on the income. We're getting double the money from a single household. And then it just spiraled out of control from there. And women have been convinced that being feminine is bad, you know, and pushing them into the masculine roles. And women are more miserable than ever. They're alone, they're miserable, and they don't understand why. They need to get back into their feminine, and they need to allow men to be in their masculine. And I think that's the only way men are going to feel the incentive to fucking push back against this globalist pedophile regime.
Exactly.
Because men will fight and die for their family, but if you don't have anything to fight and die for, it just kind of becomes, whatever. Okay, but if he has a wife and he has a family, he'll fight and he'll fucking die for his family. That's why they wanted to dismantle the family. So women need to get back into their feminine and men be allowed to get back into their masculine. And if you want to talk equality, I'm not saying negate equality. You want to talk equality? Here's equality in the family and in the marriage household. The man provides the house, she keeps it clean. The man goes to work and provides the food, she puts the meals on the table. Okay, think Back to the Future Part 3, where Marty's at the McFly farm and Seamus walks in with a bunch of dead rabbits and goes, I got supper. Okay, and Maggie prepared the rabbits. He went out, hunted the food, brought it to Maggie, who prepared it. Okay, that's equality. That's shared responsibility. Okay, that is not one dominating the other. But you have been taught that that's inequality. That's suppression. No, you go to work and you listen to your boss who doesn't give two shits about you at the end of the fucking day. But you won't listen to your own husband who would fight and die for you? You don't work with your husband who would fight and die for you? Who goes to work every day, busts his fucking ass so that you don't have to and you can stay home? Okay, if he provides the house, keep it clean. If he provides the food, prepare the meals. If he gives you all the love and attention, train his fucking balls every now and again. Okay? It's equality. That's equality right there. Okay? It's not suppression. It's not emasculating. It's just pure and simple. We have different roles to make the machine work. You know, not everybody's the key that gets the car started. There are other components. Okay, and just because you're not the key that starts the car does not mean that what you bring to the table isn't of equal value. And women need to get back to understanding that and embracing what makes a woman so special. And you'll find that they'll be much happier. You look at women from the 1950s and the 40s and whatnot, they were happy. And now you got these boss babes who are fucking miserable. Ask yourself why. Because they got out of their feminine. They got away from the family. They were tricked into getting away from the things that really make a woman happy and really give a woman value and make her feel loved and desired and valued. Whereas they're in the workforce busting their asses off, feeling unappreciated and alone. Gee, I wonder why I'm so miserable, George. You were saying, sir, Reverend?
Exactly. You know, my dad and I had many conversations, you know, about this. You know, my dad, he worked in the Bay Area for almost 30 years.
Yep. So did my grandfather. He worked over at the shipyard in Long Beach during World War II.
He worked construction, provided for a wife and 2 kids. Now he's providing for a wife until he retires.
Until he dies. Yeah. And that's how it should be.
But it's like a man who loves his wife, a woman, will do anything or everything they can to keep, you know, but at the end of the day, and I'm saying this, it's still not enough.
It is. And women wonder why they're miserable.
My question is,
I guarantee you, if they re-embrace their feminism and let men be in their masculine, dude, they'd be so much happier, and they'd be like, whoa, I'm happy. I have a husband who handles business and is a great provider and protector. I don't have to worry about shit.
my question is to these dumb broads, man, right?
Shoot.
If you say after being gone through like a damn bullet train and tunnel, why say where are the good men at?
Yeah, well, we just explained why.
Because here's why.
Yeah.
You chose the life you wanted. Okay, you wanted, look, a bad boy.
Yeah.
He ain't a real man. Never was, never will be. Why? Because he's a player, a cheater, a wife beater,
Yep.
and a user. No more than less.
Don't ever think that the bad boy is going to be a good boy for you, because
they will.
One of 2 things is going to happen. He's not going to be the good boy, and if he does become the good boy, you're going to lose attraction. Stop. Women need to stop playing that game.
If you think that you're the only woman, dude, the bad boy will have on his phone a list of hoes that
he can call at any given time.
At any time. But while you thinking, I got him, no. You are pretty much going to be ran through. You cheated on, all shit, You ain't the only bitch.
Yep.
He has a list of other dumb broads on his phone and contacts of, I'm gonna fuck her tonight, and I'll do it on Thanksgiving Eve. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and that's why fathers used to pick their daughter's husbands, or at the very least vet their daughter's boyfriend before marriage, because they wanted to make sure that their daughter was with somebody who was safe. Tommy Bird and I were talking about this last night, and he probably would have shared it on the show. I'm not going to go into too many personal details, but his daughter is of legal age, and she's been dating, and Daddy has not approved of varying boyfriends of the past. But the most recent guy that she's been seeing, he has approved of. And the conversation that went down was, he approached her and said, "Hey, I'm taking your daughter out." And he goes, "Okay." And his daughter goes, wait a minute. You're not going to fight with him? You're not going to argue with him? And he goes, no. She didn't understand why. And he explained to her. Because he was brave enough to stand up to me and tell me he's taking his daughter out. He didn't go beta and ask. He said, he showed strength. He showed that he was willing to fight for you. And that's the kind of men we need in society.
Exactly.
We need men who are going to show that mutual respect. And a lot of men will think, oh, well, asking for the father's permission is respected. In many ways it is. But if you can show a father that you are willing to stand up for what he wants, including his daughter, that's going to gain you clout and respect like a motherfucker.
Exactly.
And I was a bit perplexed at first, but then he explained it, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people don't really see that, and they don't really understand that. Because this young man showed that he was willing to stand up and fight for what he wanted and fight for this man's daughter. And Thomas has respected him for that. Because he knows that this guy will fight for and die for his daughter if it came down to it. And on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and just put the turkey in the oven. I'm hungry. So,
yep.
They were. I hope whatever he's got going on, it gets situated, and we'll try to get him on another time. He and I did talk. He is relatively free on the weekend, so we'll see about getting that worked out. In the meantime, as far as roundtables are concerned, again, we still have slots open. We'd like to have at least 4 people on the panel. So if you are interested, you share like-minded views, and more importantly, have an open mind and are willing to do your homework and question everything, research everything, and make your own determinations about everything, and would like to be a part of the panel, we would love to have you. Hit us up on Facebook or on X at RealTWRN, and let's talk and get the ball rolling there. In the meantime, this has been TinMan TV. If you have liked this broadcast, share the retransmissions and follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at RealTWRN. Buck up YouTube's algorithm, hitting that like and subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified anytime we go live. As always, keep the conversations going, even when we're off air, because we are of the people, by the people, for the people. And support the broadcast by checking out our online merch. Tons of great merch, especially the No King shirts for the No Strings shirts, counter protests to the No Kings movement, which there's going to be protests coming up here in March. So get your No Strings shirts now, so they're in time, so you get those in time for the protests. And again, it costs nothing to support the broadcast, to share the live feed, and follow us on our social media. So again, share the live feeds, share the retransmissions, and follow us on our various social medias. And Revan, thank you. Until next time, we'll see you tomorrow. And until then, this is Chris Sheldon, the Tin Man with the Worldwide Resistance Network. On behalf of Revan, Connor, and Tommy Bird, who could not be here, if you are watching this, you are the resistance. Stay safe, stay strong, and God bless.